Walk with me for just a few minutes. I'm going to teach from the topic, Pardon the Interruption. As I shared before, I'm going to even go a day back. On September 15th, 2024, I was with my family, and we were hanging out, watching the Saints beat down on the Dallas Cowboys. I couldn't resist. I just had to go there. You know, living in cowboy country, honestly, y'all, I'm going to tell y'all the whole truth. The Saints pretty much lost the rest of the season. I ain't care. They beat the Cowboys. I got to live here with these people, these Cowboys fans. I ain't even care. But while watching the game, it was like a veil ripped in my vision. And it went down, and when I looked to my left, out of my right eye, I couldn't see anything. It was just black. So I told my husband, I said, something wrong. And so even as we began to finish going through the day, I don't know if y'all ever had one of them old TVs in a tube go out and you have all them lines in the middle of the TV. That was the vision I was receiving the rest of the day. And so when we made it to the house, because the game was early in the day, I was like, I said, let me see if there's a such thing as an eye emergency room, because I need to get this checked out. Couldn't find one. Google didn't do no justice for me at that moment. Couldn't find one, so I had to wait till the next morning, called to get an appointment. They fit me in an emergency appointment. This was September 16th. The doctor came in. Her face was just so solemn, and she's like, you have a detachment, you have to go. You have to have surgery today. They sent me to a retina specialist, get to the specialist, and they look at the images, and we're like, yeah, you have to have surgery today. Me not fully understanding the extremity of the issue, I'm trying to negotiate a delay. Now, I don't know about you. If you live, once you get over 50, all kind of stuff start happening in your body. So for the doctor to say you have to have surgery, it didn't faze me none. None whatsoever. Something always gone wrong. You know what I'm saying? So when they say you have to have surgery, it didn't faze me. I was like, all right, bet. I was like, but I have something planned this weekend. I understand you say it's an emergency, but if you don't mind, can we do it Saturday afternoon? I won't eat anything all day. As soon as the event is over, I'm going to run over to the emergency room, to the hospital, admit myself, and we can take care of it then. The doctor said no. I don't think so. That's really not a good idea. So when he began to explain to me what needed to be done, granted, I still didn't understand the severity of the issue. When he began to explain to me what needed to be done, as he's sitting there talking, I just went, he said, why you say that? Because he began talking about a bubble. Now, when he started talking about a bubble, I had a flashback to my mother about 8 years prior. She had a retina detachment. They put a bubble in girlfriend's eye. The result was she had to lay face down for 30 days, couldn't lift her head up, so I knew what time it was. She couldn't fly, she couldn't do nothing. And so he said, well, why you say that? So I explained to him what had happened with my mother. And he was like, well, why are you getting upset with me? You get it from your mama? And I'm like, bet, but I don't need everything from my mama. So I go through, we have the surgery. I'm semi-compliant because I come out of the surgery still asking the question. She said, you have to lay face down for 30 days straight. I said, can I get an hour? Can I get an hour on Saturday and I can run over and say, hey, and then run back home? She is crazy as I am because she agreed to the hour, right? Full disclosure, when we left the parking lot from the hospital that day, many of you don't know, September 20th was the inaugural Rebirth Prophetic and Healing Summit. So I had things to do. When we left out of the doctor's office, waiting for the time that the surgery would be scheduled. I sat in the car because the enormity of what was just taking place hit me. And I cried for a good 30 seconds. And I said, all right, this event was never about me. What God ordains through you is never about you. I began to see the many faces of the people that would be in place that day, that were coming to be healed. I began to see what God told me would manifest through his presence in that day. And I was like, no, we can't cancel this. And so my husband said, you got to make a few phone calls, and did. First call was to my pastor. You got to know when you got a good community. I called them and I said, look, I need a favor. I don't have time to get in all the details, but I got to have surgery, and I'm need you to shift. I need you to stand in my side. He was like, wait a minute, you got to have surgery. What you mean? The pastor kicked in, right? What do you mean? What kind of surgery? What's going on? 50 questions. I was like, how you thought of all that fast? But after we got his questions answered, he was like, all right, I got you. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. My second call was to my sister, Ray. Look, Ray, I know you don't even know nothing about what's going down, but I need you to do something. PT had to shift, and his space left a void, and so I need you to step up. Here's what you need to do. Okay, bet, I got you. Next call was to the team. You got to know when you got a good team of people around you. My sisters were a part of that, and I had already shot them a text. I had to have surgery, so when I called them, they were already en route, notebook and pens in hand. The team came together, received instructions, and the event went forth. No issues. God was glorified. The testimonies of the healings that came forth. It's like, to God be the glory. And I'm still not fully understanding. Check, go ahead, put the picture up for me. On 9/16/2024, that was the x-ray that was taken of my eye. The flap at the top that you see lifted up, that's the detachment. About a month after this happened, the doctor said, do you understand what you're looking at? I said, I read the detachment. He said, no. You got to understand what you're really looking at. He said, where that line is right there in the white, had it gone a few centimeters more to the other side, the loss of your sight would be irreversible. There'd be no chance of your sight being restored. I was like, oh. And so he says, he's so excited about the fact. He said, you can see? I said, yeah. He said, no, this is your x-ray and you can see? I said, I can't see clear, but yes, I can see. I'm still in the healing process as my sight is being restored. But what God has shown me is that I shall recover it all. The miracle is still yet manifesting. I have a bubble in this right eye, and I really can't see most of y'all anyway, but it's all good. And when I hold my hand up right here, I can't even see my hand. But God. I'm standing here in the fullness of his vision. I'm standing here on the fullness of his grace. So when I tell you that what was tried to do, and I ain't even gonna give the enemy no credit in my life, because if God allowed it, he had purpose in it. But what could have been, God said not so. He said, I have need of you. And what I had to understand when I was laying down in my healing process, the only path to my healing process was to lay prostrate, face down, in communion with the Lord. What he was saying is, Adrian, I understand it may be your eye, but there's some healing that the healer needs to receive herself. There's some restoration that the healer needs to receive herself. So as I'm laying down prostrate, the Lord is speaking to me. He's pouring into me. He's taking stuff out of me that had no purpose any longer in my life. He's freeing me from past hurt. He's freeing me from past pain. The weight that I was carrying had been lifted, laying prostrate before him. What was meant as an interruption, God allowed for an elevation. So all I have to say to that is pardon the interruption. God is working. Not just on my behalf, but on your behalf. The fact that I'm here